Hi everyone, it's Galban here again. It's time for another game collection video. This time it's going to be Nintendo DS and DSi. This is my original DS, which is the American version, which I got as soon as the system came out. I've also got a Japanese one, which is which is the other halves, which we got as soon as the Japanese one came out. No particular reason getting the Japanese one, apart from the fact that it worked out slightly cheaper than ordering an American one at the time. And then I've got my Japanese DSi, which I picked up quite soon after the Japanese DSi launch when I was in Japan. Here are the styluses for the DS, DS Lite and DSi. The longer one is the one for the DSi, the top one, middle one is DS Lite, and the bottom one is the original DS. I've then got some other styluses for the DS. This one is a brush stylus for a kanji game that the other half has. I then have these two taiko drum sticks. That there you actually get both of them in the game, so you can play taiko drum. I actually have two sets. I have one for the original game, and I then have one for the second game. And then actually with the second game, they gave you a set of stickers, which included extra different stickers to sit on the round top of the stylus. I've then got these two third-party stylus pens, which are a clone of the stylus pen that you get with the DSi XL. I mainly brought these for use with WarioWare DIY to make it easier to create stuff without causing any cramp in hands by using a small stylus. Next, we've got this little neoprene case that came with the Mr. Driller game, Japanese version. It's just a straight neoprene drawstring bag for holding your DS. Then we've got this DS Lite case, Sakura Wars Limited Edition one that came with the Sakura Wars game on the DS. It also came with the cover that the other half has on a DS Lite, and also this little plastic gamekeeper. Keep all your games clean and tidy. Then we have the pouch that the other half uses for her DS Lite. This is the light blue Nintendo one. Has a Velcro strap to hold cover over, with a pocket for the DS, and then there's a zip pocket for holding games and cables and things like that. It also has little pouches for clipping it onto bags and things like that as well. Next we have my original DS case. This is the one I got when I first got my original DS. I now use it mainly for holding my DS Lite, as I do tend to use two DS's from time to time for various things that I do. And this is the case I currently use for my DSi. It's got a nice pocket for keeping the games, keeping the console in. It also actually has a little cleaning cloth for keeping your screen clean. It has a nice big zip pocket for holding a lot of games, which is great because I do carry a lot of them with me. With the DS units being rechargeable, obviously you have mains chargers. So we've got this one. This is a US and Japanese style charger. Has a little flip out plug socket. This is actually the Game Boy Advance SP one. We still have the two for the DS's, but they're left in the box because we only need one charger. We already had one out for the SP at the time. And we've also got a UK style charger again for the SP, but we used that on the DS, the original DS, because it was all fully compatible with that for charging those consoles. When the DS Lite came out, Nintendo changed the charging socket from the one that was on the SP and the original DS. So when we got our DS Lites, obviously we got the standard UK plug. However, when we went out to Japan, we needed a charger. Then of course with the release of the DSi, Nintendo changed the connector again. You see there it's different. So this is my original charger that I got with my DSi from Japan. It was obviously Japanese and American voltage standard. But when I got back from Japan, I obviously then needed to pick up a UK mains charger when they were made available, so that I could charge my unit using a UK plug without having to carry around some sort of step down transformer. Next I have this, which is my Ace Card 2i. It's a flash card unit for the DS. It also works on the DSi unless you update your firmware as of yesterday. Nintendo released new firmware to stop these. I use this mainly for homebrew, emulation, and also for Animal Crossing, so that I can acquire different fruits and that. Next I've got my Action Replay for my DS. This only works on the DS Lite and the original DS. Next we've got my set of pedometers. I've got the Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver pedometer. I actually have two of these. I have one and the other half has one. I've then also got this little black pedometer for the Walk With Me game. With the game you got a black and a white one. This is the black one. The other half uses the white one, and I've also got this one here, which is still in box, which is the optional third or spare one that they did. It's a white body with a green button. Got this one because I accidentally killed one of them by putting it through a washing machine. Ended up taking it back to the store and got it replaced, but I brought this as a spare just in case I do that again. Next, one of the reasons why I still use a DS Lite from time to time is this. It's the Guitar Hero grip. That slots into the back of your DS for playing Guitar Hero. You have your fret buttons there, and obviously you also have your wrist strap, hand strap, and you've also got your pick stylus for strumming on the game. Next, we've got the rumble packs for the DS and DS Lite. This is the one that came with Metroid Prime Pinball in the US. It's a standard Game Boy Advance cartridge size, so it fits fine in a DS. However, on the DS Lite it does stick out slightly. It will work, it just sticks out of the slot. This one, however, is the one that only got released in Japan for the DS Lite. It's actually shaped identical to the cover that sticks into your GBA slot on the DS Lite, so it actually replaces that without any problems, and gives you the rumble feature. I actually had a lot of trouble finding this. I had to go around to quite a few shops in Japan until I found a small retailer. As I said, I had the American Nintendo DS at launch, so it came with a free demo of Metroid Prime Hunters first time, which was a demo for the latest to be released Metroid Prime Hunters game, and to kind of like demonstrate how the mechanics would work. And I've also got the Guitar Hero on tour cartridge. This came in a smaller case because obviously it came with the grip, so they obviously used different packaging to hold it. Then I've got Advance Wars Days of Ruin, Legends of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, Puyo Pop Fever, Yoshi's Island DS, WarioWare Touched, Cooking Mama 2, as already mentioned, Metroid Prime Pinball, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, Kirby's Canvas Curse, Advance Wars Dual Strike, Phantasy Star Zero, Lunar Nights, Metroid Prime Hunters, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, Walk With Me, this is the game that uses the pedometers, Sonic Rush Adventure, Snowboard Kids, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Sonic Rush, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy Tactics A2, the Japanese version of Nintendogs, this is the Dash Hound and Friends version, the Japanese version of Mario 3-on-3 Basketball, Pokemon Heart Gold, Cooking Mama, the Japanese version of Valkyrie Profile, Ninja Gaiden the Dragon Sword, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, Super Princess Peach, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, Bomberman 2, Dr. Kawajima Brain Training, also known in America as Brain Age, Game Central CX. This is a Japanese game based on a TV series in Japan. I believe there's an American version of this game coming out, which has been completely overhauled. But it's great because all the games are based on 8-bit, 16-bit era games, and they're just made up copies similar to ones that you would have played on the SNES and the NES, Master System or Mega Drive. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, the Japanese version of Electroplankton. I did get this in the box that came with the headset as well. So, the third Naruto RPG game, again Japanese. Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, Children of Mana, Game Central CX2. This is the second game, is a good follow-on. The Japanese version of Custom Robo, Taiko Drum DS Volume 2 and Taiko Drum DS Volume 1, both Japanese. Mega Man ZX Advent, The World Ends With You, the Japanese version of Mega Man ZX, which is actually known as Rockman ZX over there, Sonic Chronicles Dark Brotherhood, Scribblenauts, the Two Love Ru game, which is Japanese. Star Fox Command, again Japanese. Bomberman. Super Mario 64 DS. Tetris DS. Wario Master of Disguise. Polarium. Drawn to Life. Final Fantasy 12. Reverent Wings. Pokemon Diamond. Mario vs Donkey Kong 2 March of the Minis. WarioWare DIY. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fate. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade Attack. Guitar Hero on Tour Decades. Final Fantasy 4. Yoshi Touch and Go. Contra 4. Infinite Space. Ridge Racer DS. Luminous Arc. New Super Mario Brothers. Meteos. The Japanese Ouran Host Club DS game. The Japanese kanji trainer that I mentioned about the stylus brush. The Japanese version of a game called A Penguin's Trouble. The Japanese version of the Miles Edgeworth investigation game. Trauma Center Under the Knife 2. The Japanese version of Kingdom Hearts 358 by 2 Days. Nero DS game. Sakura Wars, both of those are Japanese. Pokemon Soul Silver. Trauma Center Under the Knife. Pokemon Pearl version. The Japanese version of Zookeeper. The Japanese version of what ended up being called Life Signs in the US and the UK, but it's actually called Doctor in Japan. This actually came out before Trauma Center, even though in the US and UK it came out much later. The Japanese version of Mr. Grip Driller. Oenden 2. This one I can't actually read the title of, it's Japanese. I think it's like Slate DS or Saint DS. This is one of the other halves game. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. More Brain Training, or again Brain Age 2. Professor Layton and the Curious Village. And Professor Layton and Pandora's Box. Japanese version of Phoenix Wright 2. And we've got the limited edition of Phoenix Wright 4. This came in a nice suitcase style setup, and it came with you get the game, you also get a character encyclopedia, and there's also a DVD as well, which is in there. Chocobo Tales, the Japanese version of Nintendogs, Shiba and Friends. Rub Rabbits, which is the sequel to XXXY Feel the Magic. Now, a couple of the games we've got multiple copies of. We've got 2 copies of Final Fantasy Echoes of Time, Japanese version. We also have 2 versions of the Japanese version of Final Fantasy 3, which we managed to pick up when we were out in Japan on the day of its release. Next, we've got 2 games that aren't really the same, but one is the spiritual successor or an Americanized version of one. You've got Owen Dam, which is the Japanese version, and then you have Elite Beat Agents, which is the American version. It's pretty much the same game, they just changed the story and changed the music. So that's why it's more of a successor rather than the copy, but obviously in release terms, this is the first one in the series in Japan, this is the first one in the series in America. We've got 2 copies of Feel the Magic XY and XX, which is the game prior to Rub Rabbits. Then we've got 2 copies of Animal Crossing Wild World. And finally we've got 2 copies of Mario Kart DS. So that's the whole DS collection. If you want to watch my other videos showing off my game collection, please subscribe to my channel, or leave us a comment, tell us what you think of my collection, and yeah, we'll see you around. Bye.